Morning everyone, it's another beautiful day up at the new allotment, and today sees me putting up a shed. So thought I'd do a video on just how to put up a shed and actually how relatively straightforward it is. So I am accompanied by my new neighbours today, so they probably won't be helping that much, but they're here now. Yes, got the panels up here, the side panels and the front and rear panel. The roof panel are still down on the old allotment site, so I'll need to walk those up at some point. But that is the goal today, to get this done, weather permitting. Right then, so this shed has travelled from the old allotment site up to the new one, and as every allotmenteer or gardener knows, you do need to have a shed for putting loads of gardening tools in, plus somewhere to shelter when the weather's a little bit like it is today. So for the time being, I've brought up rear section, side and front. The two roof panels are still down there, so I'll need to get them at some stage. That is the base section there, which I have already levelled and put onto some slabs. I'll show you in a moment once I get the roof off it. And actually the first job will be to do a bit of remedial work to the base anyway. So let's get some tools out and get started. Right, so lifted the panel off. You can see the base. So all I've done is I've just used a spirit level and put some slabs down that are going to support the majority of the base, and dug out the soil to get the slabs on, because you don't want the wooden bearers, that is these pieces, you don't want the wooden bearers to be sitting in direct contact with the soil. If you've got them and or you want to buy them, then getting some additional sections of wood that can run across that way is an even better option, because then that's really going to elevate the shed above the soil level. For me, this is a second or third hand shed anyway, and it's only really a get out of the worst weather and store a few allotment tools, so I'm not too worried, to be honest. But the main thing is, say, get your base nice and level. Following on from that, you want to just make sure it's nice and sturdy, and in this case there is a little bit of rot there, so all I'm going to use is some tile batten that I'm going to cut in half, screw one side on the inside of this beam and one on the inside of that, and that's just going to pick up these last three pieces of timber just to strengthen that, which you don't need a tremendous amount of strength to it, but it's better to do it now. So I just get the saw and drill out and get that done. Told you I'd have a helper today. Anyway, you can see, just put the two panels on there, and that's really going to strengthen that up. And you can see with the setup of the paving slabs, nicely level, and just put down sufficient a number to pick up as much of the base as needs to be, to ensure that it's a nice solid walk when you're going over the base. So just lay it back down again. Okay, so with the base down, it's time to turn attention to getting the back on and side panel. So pick your side panel as to which you're going to do, whether you go with your left or your right one, and you're just going to be fixing side panel to the back panel. And I know that these go together by way of some coach bolts, so I'll just get that screwed into position. And once you've got one side and back panel screwed together, that's going to give you a little bit of stability and well, a tiny section done from which to work from. Okay, so side and back connected together. Took a little bit of doing because quite frankly it's blowing quite strong winds up here, so I'm going to be quick on videoing this. They're secured together. Don't be tempted to start screwing down the bases as yet, because you want to make sure that it's all the panels are in the correct place and nicely squared up first. So before the wind picks up anymore, I'm going to get this side panel on, bolted exactly the same way. Let me just show you the bolts that I'm using. It came with this, but you can use sort of long 3-4 inch screws otherwise, so they just wind in quite nicely. So these coach bolts, they literally just wind in, just bite in to the timber nice and tightly, and you'll find that as you get closer in, they'll start pulling the timber together, or the two panels together. And it's always a good idea not to bury them totally, so that if you need to have access to them for another move, then you do. So that's top section done. Now for the bottom. Second side on. Now just to get the front panel done. Once we get the front on, then we can shore up the base. Right, front's on. Hopefully the door still opens, so that's always a bonus. Right, so with all the panels in place, you can now double check that the base is all lined up correctly, square to where it should be. So now is the time to screw these panels, these side panels, down onto the base, so the whole thing doesn't move. Simple as that really. So I'm just going to end up using sort of some 50mm screws, so that is going to ensure that it go through that section plus the same distance again into the timber below. Right, so I put screws all the way around, nice and securely, making sure you get the corners done and evenly around. When you come to screwing down at the front, always a good idea to do 3 through the centre of your walkway, because you don't want that front lifting up to allow water to come through or to become a trip hazard. So yeah, that's the last few to do. Okay, so I've got the roof panels up to the top here, set of steps, and obviously, as is always the way, it's coming to get the roof on, so it's going to start raining again. First thing, just get one side up at a time if you can do, and let's just show you. So that is the inside section. If you're putting up a shed that comes bare, as in it has no felt to it, then you'll have a nice hard section, smooth section, so that'll be the outer facing, and then the bit with the 3 ridges, well, that's for internal. You can put it up by yourself quite easily by using one of these beams to hook onto the outer edge of the shed, and I'll show you. If you're just one person, or indeed 2 of you trying to put up a big shed with roof, easiest way, slide the roof panel from the outside, and you can literally use that internal part of the shed, the beam, to rest this central support on. That gives you a bit of breathing time to then get onto the inside of the shed and then drag the roof up into its final position, which will be into this apex. Once it's in the apex, leave it there until you get the second side on. You don't want to start screwing it down until both sections of roof are in place and you know that they're all square to one another. And that's how it should sit. That's lined up on the inside and on the outside. So now to get the second panel up. Right, so the second panel up, you just want to make sure that it's in correctly. So this should be in tight to the frame, so should that, and that. So you can see that obviously the sides want pulling in a little bit, just at the top. So get that done first before you think about screwing these. These top pieces should be resting on there. Don't be tempted to pull them tight up, as that's not how they go. They're designed to rest on there. So once it's secured in there, what you can do, you can then just put some screws in to hold that panel into position. Right, so I've got some screws in up through there, and then I've literally just put 3 screws through the apex bit just to take some of the spring out of it. And then the final stage, you can see on this one where it's pre-drilled, just want to put some screws through there that are going to pick up to screw into the outside of the roof there. Right, so from my point of view, I've now secured up the back, got rid of the old door, put in some reinforcing timbers and screw back the panels, and then I've just added in a bit of timber there just to strengthen up the rotten section. But we come to the kind of finishing offy type bit. So you got these little fillets, and they literally just go down the side just to tidy up the joints and to hide it all. So get those nailed on next. Right, so now we've got the fillets on down the sides. Really, it's at the stage now to get the last piece of felt on, which would go across that apex. Once the felt's on, then you can put on the timber pieces, which are those that just tidies up the front and the back, and secures down the front lips of the felt. It is absolutely chucking it down now, so I might give it a couple of minutes and then come back to that. Right, well, it doesn't look like the rain's going to stop anytime soon, so I've grabbed the roll of felt, which is just there. Make sure you set your ladders up so they're nice and secure, or get someone to hold the ladders for you, and then we're just going to be getting it up onto the roof there and set it out so it's equally spaced from both sides. You want to make sure that you've got at least 6 inches of overlap onto the bottom layer of felt, so that's going to stop the rain or the water going back upwards via capillary action to wet the inside of your shed. So let's get this rolled out and secured down as quick as possible. Oh, actually, so we almost got, so to secure it down, you use felt nails. So it has a wide head to it that spreads the load, stops it going through the felt, and then just a short stub. These are a zinc nail so they don't rust. So to start with, if you set your tacks out not really the sort of spacing, then you can come back through and do the infills on your 6 inching. It's always a good idea to start on the side that is with the travel of the wind. That way it's going to be much easier to get it down and naturally knock the other side in place. And ideally you want to do it when it's not chucking it down with rain and strong winds. Right, so you can see the middle section's on. If I was building a shed normally, I'd want to make sure that I had a bigger overhang than what's been left originally, and indeed what I've got left. But the main thing is that your roof is now going to be watertight. So now to get the end sections on. Right, okay, so that is the shed finished. Quite often in a kit, or if you want to, there'd be a finishing off piece just on the front, but you know, it's all decorative. So shed all done. The only thing I'm going to do at some stage is get some polycarbonate and put that as a window, stop the water coming in. But one shed up and done on an absolutely horrendous day. Job done. So that is it, that's me done. Hour and 3/4 getting the shed up, absolutely soaked, frozen, and quite frankly had enough, but I'm gonna go home. If you got any questions, then please send them over to me. I'll do my best to answer them for you. If you like what I'm doing, then please subscribe to the channel. Hopefully the next video will be a bit more inspiring. Don't forget to hit that reminder button so you don't miss out on future videos I'm doing. And I normally say it, but probably today's not the day, but have fun, enjoy what you're doing, and enjoy being outside if you can. And till next time, from me, the sheep, and well, the donkeys back there. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.